Okay, so to set up the Cyclone, we want to get our players to line up in a box type of setting around the key. So as we can see here, right, we have, about a square root of players, around the key, right? So we have a player here at the elbow, player here at the elbow, and two players near the net. So, a full square, around the key. Okay, we're also going to have our point guard, above the 3-point line. The key to this one is we want to have our point guard on the side of the floor, right? We don't want to have our point guard right here in the middle. We want to have our point guard on the side of the floor. Now, how you start this, if you want to start the play with your point guard here and then bring them to the side of the floor with the basketball, that's fine as well. But, either way, we just want to get our point guard here on the side of the floor. So maybe let's say, for the sake of drawing this out, that they'll start in the middle, right? And then we'll move them over to the side of the floor. Now, the key to this play is we want to get a wide open layup. For one of our wing players, right here we have it as the 4. The 4 player is going to be the one receiving the wide open layup. So you want to put the person receiving the layup in this spot that number 4 is in. But, if you have a wing player or maybe a power forward that you trust to score around the rim, that would be a good player to put in this particular position. Now, we want to have a shooter down here in this number 2 spot. So somebody who you trust to shoot the basketball, right? Because we want a lot of focus on that particular player, right? We want the defense to chase that player through screens, right? So we want the focus to be on number 2. So you should put one of your shooters or one of your stronger shooters in this number 2 spot. Okay, so what is going to happen to start? Number 2 is going to come over here and set a screen for number 3. Okay, so number 2 is coming over and setting that screen. So number 3 is coming off the screen, and number 1 is going to feed the ball over to number 3. So number 3 is receiving that basketball. Now what's going to happen immediately after that is number 2 is going to come up here and set a screen for number 4. Okay, number 4 is coming off that screen nice and tight to the basket. They're going to receive a pass here from number 3, and they're going to get a wide open layup to the basket. Now, there are a few things that you can do to make this easier, right? If you want to have number 5 kind of pop outside the 3-point line once that screen action is taking place, I don't think there's any, negative side to that as well. We can bring that defender outside the 3-point line. If you do have, a post player, a big, a 5 player, I, probably wouldn't recommend putting them on the floor for this. And I'd probably recommend more of a small ball type of, team on the floor for this, so that the other team will match, and there's not necessarily a lot of tall or great defenders around the rim on the floor. But that's neither here or there. That's not the point of the offensive play, obviously. So let's kind of look at it again. And again, we want to have number 2 here, who is going to be our shooter that we kind of want people to chase around the floor, right? And number 1 is our point guard. So it starts off again. We have that screen being set here for number 3. Right, number 3 is coming off that screen. Which way they come off the screen doesn't really matter too much. Right, we're going to feed them the basketball. Now let's say they get it maybe inside the 3-point line a little bit. And if number 1 needs to dribble, a little bit closer to get the ball to number 3, that's okay as well. Obviously, we're just kind of drawing it out here. Right, and then, like I said, number 2 is going to set that screen here for number 4. Again, if you want to do this outside the key a little bit, that's okay too. Right, but let's just say it happens at the elbow. Maybe we can have number 5 pop to create some extra room there, and then we're going to have a wide open layup here for number 2. So like I said, this play, results in a wide open layup. It's one of my favorite plays of all time. I've loved using it. I've used it with teams as young as 5th grade to all the way up into high school teams as well. It's not something you want to run over and over and over again, because eventually teams will catch on. But if you want to have a heavy hitter, maybe 1 or 2 times per game, that will result in a wide open layup, this is a great one for that. Great. All right, folks, I need to quickly stop right there before we move into our next topic to mention that right now, 97.1% of our daily viewers are not subscribed to our channel. So that means if you are one of these people, if you are one of these 97.1% who are not currently subscribed but are watching this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you could take the time real quick to hit that subscribe button. It will help us continue to make content like this, continue to make basketball plays for other coaches, basketball drills for other players, and basketball, everything that both players and coaches and organizations alike can use. So again, if you could really quickly take the time to hit that subscribe button, it'll just take 2 seconds. It would be greatly appreciated. But moving on to our next topic. going to look at today combines the horns offense and the flex offense. Now, for anybody that follows us, checks out our plays, you would know that I'm a huge fan of the flex offense, and I'm a huge fan of this one as well because again, it combines both of these plays to make one really great play in my opinion. So the first thing we have here, obviously, we're kind of lined up the same way, right? We have our players here in the post, aka at the elbow for this one. Our post players, usually our bigger players, are going to be number 5 and number 4. Somebody you can get the ball in that you feel comfortable with. You can pass it into one of these players. But in this situation, we're going to have number 3 instead of number 3 being a shooter. We're going to have number 3 being somebody who, we feel can score around the rim. So, maybe your actual 3, maybe you're small forward. You're not going to put a smaller player in this position, in my opinion. Okay, so what we're going to have happen right now is we're going to want to get the ball. And then the same thing for number 2, actually, I should say. Number 2, should be in the similar type of position as number 3 in this situation, because you might have to go to either side of the floor on this one. So we're going to get the ball in to start to number 4. So we want number 4 and number 5, both of these players posting up, facing the basketball. But we want to get the ball into number 4, right? We want our point guard, number 1, to pass the ball into number 4. That is our first step. Now, as that is happening, number 5 is then going to come up to about the 3-point line, and they're going to set a screen for number 1. So number 1 is coming off that screen. Now, as that is happening, number 5, obviously, you're going to be right here. We're going to pass the ball back to number 5. So number 4 is going to pass the ball back to number 5. As that happens, number 4, they're just going to move out a little bit to the 3-point line. But what number 1 is doing is they're moving all the way down to number 3 right here, and they're setting that flex screen. So we can have a flex cut here from number 3 all the way to the basket, and then we can feed the ball into number 3 for an easy layup. If we don't have, the ability to get the ball into number 3, that's okay, because we can either go to a dribble handoff here to number 4 or number 2. There are some other options here as well. So our play isn't stuck. But again, typically we're going to be able to get that flex cut here into number 3 for that easy layup, right? It's basically a flex offense, but we're setting up in a horns. All right, so let's look at it again. Let's run through one more time. So we have our point guard here, number 1 with the basketball. We have number 5, number 4 are 2 post players there at the elbow, right? And we're going to start by getting the ball into number 4. So we want both of these players posting up or getting in front of their defenders. If we have to go to the opposite side, that's fine as well. But for the sake of demonstration here, we'll get the ball into number 4, right? Number 5 is going to come up and set that screen here for number 1, right? Then they're going to move up again, receive the basketball back. Number 1 is coming to set that screen here for number 3. Number 3 is coming out the screen, right? And we're going to feed the ball into number 3 for that wide open layup that will most often be there because this is a flex cut, flex screen. And, we know that those are very effective when it comes to basketball plays. Okay, so we're going to take a look at a 4-out, 1-in basketball play. Okay, so as we can see here, we have our 4 players outside of the 3-point line. Right, we have our 1 player in that dunker spot right there. Okay, so how this play is going to work, we're going to try to get, almost a pick and roll style look here for a wide open layup. Okay, so we have our point guard right here, number 1. We're going to have a 5, a big right here, another big right here outside. And then, ideally we could have maybe 2 shooters right here on our wings on the right side of the floor. Okay, it doesn't really matter if you want to switch up the sides a little bit, that's fine too. Okay, so how this play is going to start is we have number 4 setting a screen here for number 1. Now, number 1 is coming off that screen, and they're eventually going to look to attack the basket. But as that is happening, number 5 is coming up here, and they are setting a screen for number 4. Then number 4 is coming off that screen almost as if they're rolling to the basket. So we have number 1 right here is going to attack the paint once that screen is being set, right? And we have number 4 diving to the basket, coming off the screen being set here by number 5. Now, eventually what we'll see most likely, right, is somebody switching on to number 1 off of that initial screen, right, to cover number 1 right here. it's going to be difficult for the defense to switch on to number 4 after that second screen. The focus is probably going to be a lot more here on number 1, right? So we have number 1 attacking that basket, and we're probably going to get an easy lob in here to number 4. Okay, if we see the help defense kind of collapse and leave number 3 right here, then we're also then going to have a pretty easy chance for a kick out to number 3 for a wide open jump shot. Okay, so let's take a look at that again. So we have our point guard right here with the basketball. We have our 1 in, and we have our 4 out here. 4 is going to start by setting a screen here for number 1. Number 1 is coming off of that screen with the basketball, but they're not going to start attacking the rim quite yet, because as that's happening. Number 5 is setting this screen here. Number 4 is coming off that screen. As that's happening, number 1 is attacking. Right, we have an option here for a layup if that happens. If not, we have a lob option here to number 4. And again, if the defense collapses on number 4 and number 1, right, then we have a kick out here to number 3, or even a kick back to number 2 for 2 outside shots. So you want to put some shooters here in the number 2 and number 3 position. All right, folks, that is all we have for today's particular topic. If you made it this far into today's lesson, it is greatly appreciated. Now, if you guys could also do me a huge favor and like this video and subscribe to our channel, it would also be greatly appreciated. We are the Online Basketball Academy. My name is Coach Danny, and I continuously upload different basketball plays, basketball systems, basketball tactics, and basketball drills that youth basketball players or training basketball players can use, or basketball coaches can use with their players and their teams. Like I said, folks, if you could take the time to like this video and subscribe to our channel so I can continue to make this type of content for you all, that would be greatly appreciated. Till next time, peace out.